Okay guys, so after months of waiting, it's finally time. Now, if you guys have been following me on Instagram or Twitter, I've been teasing this for a really long time. But basically, TLDR is I set up like a deal with JLabs to try out all of their new streamer microphones. And I will basically be getting ready to do a full review of all of them. But we're not there yet. Today, we're just unboxing them to see what's inside the box of all of them. So without further ado, spend a little bit of time getting to know the JLabs Talk Microphones. Let's get into it. Okay, so the purpose of this video is basically just to essentially unbox all of these microphones so that if you were to pick any of these up, you know what you're getting inside the box. And pretty much just it. Yeah, what's in the box, what it comes with. And I'll do kind of like a bass sound sample so you get a general idea of how each of the microphones sound. But eventually I will be doing a full review of each of these, as well as I believe the last video we'll be doing will be like kind of like a competition or basically a head-to-head comparison between this and the microphones that they said these are the, I guess you could say, top competitors against, which would be basically a bunch of the USB microphones in the blue line. So for example, you'd have this up against the blue Snowball, this one up against the blue Yeti, and this one supposedly, the bottom one here, up against the blue Yeti Pro. So we're gonna be opening up each one here so you guys can see what's inside. So if you plan on picking it up, you know what's in it. And then hopefully you'll be excited to see what we do when we finally do the big showdown between these and the blue mics. But for now, yeah, let's just get started. I'm gonna open up this one first. So they've sent me a couple of other microphones before this, but the only microphone that I never got was the JLabs Talk Go, simply because they were so popular. They were literally sold out for like 2 months. So finally they managed to send me another one of the Go, or basically my first version of the Go. And they also sent me out an extra of the Talk and the Talk Pro so that I can open those up along with it. I've been using the regular Talk Pro and the Talk on my stream over the last 2 months. I am going to be going back to my XLR setup, but I wanted to use them for a long period of time to actually have a real use case experience with them, instead of just doing a quick review that was just kind of based on like testing them out a little bit. So that's kind of why, if you're wondering why if you have been by my Twitch stream, if you're wondering why I've sounded kind of different, it's because I've been messing around with those two mics. But I wanted to have real experience with them instead of, again, just kind of the quick stuff. But anyway, let's get into unboxing this, which is going to be way harder than I know it should be. Literally every time I'm going to do an unboxing, I say that I'm going to prep so that I make this quicker. And this time, I actually did it after starting to record the video. But we got scissors, so don't have to deal with like all of this ugly tape and stuff that keeps me locked out of the true treasures that I want. If I can use these scissors right. Hello? Scissors? Please? I'm cutting entirely wrong. You're always supposed to cut away from you. Clearly wasn't doing that there. Remember to practice safety, peoples, when unboxing stuff. Is it just that? Is there something on the bottom here? Mother? Alright, here we go. Recyclable packaging. Fair enough. Designed in California, assembled in China. Fair enough. Get it open, mother. Alright, I think we got everything this time. We should just be able to pull it out now, hopefully. Or slide it down maybe. One or the other. Whichever way you would like to come out. Packaging. Mother. We'll get this. Just have some. Oh, there we go. Alright. So, it wants to slide down, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to slide this down just a wee bit. And bam. Not too much else there. Now let's see what we have inside though when you open her up. La 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 la. Come on. La la la. So this is a little bit different from the other packaging, but you'll see that here in a moment, as you can kind of see here. This actually seems to just come in a very nice, soft, softer foam. I don't know what this stuff is called, but I love this so much more than the styrofoam. If everybody could just pack their stuff in this and not styrofoam, I'm sure it's probably a bit more expensive, but I would really appreciate it. Okay, thanks. All right, so we've got the stand. If you guys don't know, every one of the JLabs mics comes with a little stand, so you can set it up on your desk, or you can set it up, basically attach it to like a tripod or things like that. So, but it helps with that. Also deep in here, this looks to be, I guess this is what you would put to hook it up to like more of a traditional like desk maybe or something. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too sure. We're gonna figure this out together, but you got like this little thing. I'm assuming this is what screws into the mic itself. I don't know if the other ones came with this. I think the other one came with a little bit something different. So we'll see right now. But this is the mic itself. So this is the JLabs Talk Go. This is actually really, really, really small. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but this is like much lighter than the Blue Yeti for sure. Although this is supposed to be like the Blue Snowball competitor. But this is probably one of the lightest microphones I've ever held. You can see on the back here, we've got a headphone jack. So if you're planning on using headphones, USB port, volume switch, and it looks like a little mute button right here. You can press this for mute and whatnot quickly. I'm wondering how you switch what mode you're on. Cause this one comes with two modes. I want to say it's a Coloroid. Hold on, let me grab the box. So it comes with two patterns. Comes with Omni and Coloroid. So for the two patterns, but I'm wondering how you switch which pattern you're using. It looks like according to the back you hold it, so press and holding the mute button is what switches what pattern you're on, and then just clicking the mute button quickly on and off is what mutes it or unmutes it. So then I guess it's also got like an RGB thing going on, or RGB thing going on in the back. So it either goes red, blue, or green, depending on what pattern or whether or not you have it muted or not. So that's pretty cool. We'll get it plugged in and try it out here in a moment. But that's what you get, at least from the media in the box here. And it looks like as I thought. So the way this would be is this screws into the mic like this, right? And so this would be so you can put it on like a mic stand or anything else, or the little tripod, like I said, that they give you for it. You then screw that tripod into here. Hopefully I'm assuming I can get all this a little bit tighter so it's not all wiggling around. Either that or I'm assuming like this locks it or something, but either way, you screw this in here, somehow this locks, I'm assuming, and then you've got like, you know, your little microphone that you can use on a tripod and move around and whatnot. We'll play with it a little bit more to see if we can get it to like stop screwing around so much, but that seems to be the general idea. I want to know which is the face. I'm assuming this is probably the face of it, because when you're doing Coloroid, you generally want to talk right into the mouth of it, if you would, or the front of it. And I'm assuming that's what the front of this one is, but I could be wrong. Like I said, we'll play around with it a little bit and see if we can get this exactly how we want it a little bit later. But that's what's in the box for the JLab Talk Go, which is, this is the one I've opened the other two before, even though you'll be the first time you guys are seeing it here on the stream. Okay, this is how you lock it in place. That makes sense. This locks it so it doesn't move too much, this little thing right here, and then you twist it to the other way to give it more room, and then this can move around. So you can get this however you want it, basically, which is good. Basically, I basically opened the other ones before, not on stream or in video, but just kind of in general. So this is the one I really wanted to see. And inside here, you've got a quick start guide and the cable. So in here, you get a quick start guide. You also get a free, looks like a free subscription to Tidal, which is like one of the music services. I want to say it's Kanye and Jay-Z's online music service. So it's kind of like Spotify. I've never used it. I might give it a try out because I've gotten so many of like these little free trials for it. So I might give it a try. But basically, you get a little free starter for trial or for Tidal. You also get a quick start guide, which for the most part, using these, I'll look a little bit more into this in the full review. But for the most part, these are pretty much plug and play, believe it or not. So that's really good. And then you get a USB-C cable. That's another cool thing about these compared to, say, the Blue Yeti or a lot of the other USB microphones out there, is a lot of them don't rock USB-C, while these ones do. I don't know if this will allow them to transfer any more data or to be any more advanced in any other ways. It's still going to be something, like I said, I'll go over in the full review. But it is nice to see that like some companies are finally moving towards doing USB-C for their wires. And although I will say, from my personal experience, and you'll see this here in a second, from opening the Go, this is from the Go, or this is from the Talk Go, from opening the regular Talk and the Talk Pro, I do like you get like I feel like a little bit longer of a cable, but you also get like a braided USB-C cable, which I do like from those. You don't necessarily get that from the regular talk, but it's not the end of the world for that. But either way, that seems to be all that's else in the box. So we're gonna move on to the next USB or next talk microphone from there. All right, throw all this over here for now. All right, so up next we've got the JLabs Talk. So this is just the mid-tier or the talk microphone. This is the one they would have compete directly with the Blue Yeti, which is outside of the Shure SMB, probably the most used microphone among Twitch streamers. So this is the one I would be, say, most interested in, just because the Blue Yeti is what I was currently using before I got sent out microphones from them and before I moved on to the Go XLR. So, I mean, I know a lot of streamers that have pretty much used not only are they still using Blue Yetis, but have pretty much used Blue Yetis from when they started their streaming career all the way up to when they got partnered and beyond. And like, generally it takes someone coming into their life and forcing them onto an XLR mic setup to go from the Blue Yeti onto anything beyond that. So this has got some pretty big shoes to fill if it wants to be able to compete with that microphone. All right, we got the stickers off both sides of this one. So we're gonna try to slide this one out now. We realize grabbing it doesn't work much, but just pushing it or giving it a slight nudge works a lot. So sliding the box off here, got the front and back here. Now this one seems to be where the RGB seems to be around the button itself, as you can kind of see there. So you can see it goes like from a blue to a green to a red. But this one's got 4 patterns. So this is, again, just like the Blue Yeti, has 4 different patterns as opposed to just the 1, or the 2, I should say. But it still comes with a mounting stand and a few other things, so we'll see as we open things up to see what we got inside here. As we open this one up, this one opens to the right as opposed to the last one that opened to the left. You open this big boy up, and it's got that soft cloth foam or whatever this stuff is called on the top of it, which is nice. And I feel like this is upside down. Maybe I'm upside down, but no, this is, I don't know. I'm assuming you want to see it like this, but the start guide and stuff is upside down. So, but either way, but you've got it still on the soft cloth foam, just like the talk. It's got the little tripod stand you can use to put it on, which is really cool. The difference I would say between that as well, there was an extra piece that I guess to kind of connect it. This one doesn't necessarily have that. What this one seems to have, it's just kind of like a stand around the mic itself. The mic itself doesn't feel too much heavier. It's a little bit, but doesn't feel too much heavier than the Talk Go. But instead, it's got this little thing you can use to wrap around it that latches onto the side, and I'm assuming the stand just screws into the bottom here. But like I said, again, in the bottom here, as you see, you've got a USB port and you've got the microphone port. I want to say this right here is how you switch between volume and gain, which is pretty cool. I should probably look into how that works on the other one, because I'm assuming you'd have to still adjust your gain and stuff on that one as well. And this one, you got your different coloroid patterns. So you've got your, you know, whatever, depending on what type of pattern you're using. And then you can basically up what the volume and gain is on your mic. And I'm assuming, if I remember from my use of it, this has a little RGB around it. And so it'll be blue when you're changing the volume and green when you're changing the gain. It could be reversed, something like that. But basically you can kind of see an RGB of how much gain and how much volume it has based on the little circle around it. And then of course you just tap this when you want to mute it. Just kind of like for a quick tap, and you've got that little button press connectivity. Doesn't feel too bad. Still feels really light. Still feel like, it feels like a light solid. I don't want to say, feels kind of tinny. So it doesn't necessarily like the Blue Yeti feels like metal. If you've ever seen a Blue Yeti or used one of those, I actually grab mine real quick. But it feels like full metal. This doesn't feel as dense as that. It feels a little bit lighter. So maybe like an aluminum, but it still feels solid, if that makes sense. The Blue Yeti though feels like a piece of like metal, like an iron or whatever. But let's quickly get to the quick start opening guide here so you guys can see what's inside here. Again, we've got a quick start guide, got 3 months of Tidal. So, you know, if you really wanted to check out Tidal, this would be a good way to grab this mic, and then you get 3 months of Tidal free, so you can try that out too. For the most part, yeah, just kind of the quick start guide in here, nothing too crazy. But like I said, it does come with a braided, you can see here, it comes with a braided USB-C cable. I think it might even be a little bit longer than the USB cable that you got from the talk microphone as well. Let's find out real quick. I believe so. So this is the cable we got from the talk microphone. And I believe, I'm almost positive this is longer, but we'll find out for sure. Yeah. So looks like this, like the USB or the Talk Go microphone ends at about here. And then this one goes for like another foot. So it's about a foot longer. Not too much longer, but I mean, you know, ask the ladies, an extra foot can be important sometimes. Anyway, but for the most part, just like the other one, I don't even know where I put it. Hold on. Just like the other one, it connects right in. When using it, you kind of just screw it, or you just kind of screw this in here. Oh, so this will work. Hello? Video game? You swear. I swear it'd be like my first time using this one, but it's actually not. There we go. Essentially, you screw it in. You can use it as kind of like a, I'm assuming you can I can screw this in to make this tight too, so it's not moving around as much. You can use it as kind of like a microphone. La, 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 la. You can set it on your stand, or you can set it up on like a tripod or things like that. And again, this kind of holds itself up by like spreading out and being a tripod on its own, and you can set it whichever direction ends up working out best for you. But that's still pretty cool. We're gonna put this right here as well. And last, but certainly not least, we have the flagship of them, the JLabs Talk Pro. So this is the microphone that, again, I've been using currently on stream. I've been using for quite some time on stream. This is supposed to be their professional grade one. It's supposed to be their Blue Yeti Pro competitor. This one is, however, still USB-C, which kind of, I won't lie, kind of threw me off when they mentioned it was the Blue Yeti Pro competitor. One of the standout things about the Blue Yeti Pro is that it is both a USB and an XLR microphone. I swear this is still just a USB microphone, but it is a USB-C microphone. So it may be possible that it's able to transfer more data over USB-C than say a regular USB micro or things like that. I'm not positive. We'll test it out. We'll find out for sure. But again, that's kind of how they're touting it. Still has the 4 patterns as the Talk has. The big difference here, I want to say, is probably the bit rate and the hertz range. Again, I'm not a super audio guy, so I don't have a full understanding of that, so I'll be going more in that in the full review after I'm able to do some homework to understand exactly what all that's supposed to mean. But again, this is supposed to be their Blue Yeti Pro competitor, which the Blue Yeti Pro right now comes in at about $250. That's where this one, I believe, comes in at about $150, so $100 cheaper. If it is able to compete with the Blue Yeti Pro, that would be awesome, because that is $100 cheaper. And same thing with the other ones. I want to say that the Talk, being a Blue Yeti competitor, comes in at about $50 cheaper than the Blue Yeti, and that the Talk Go, being a Blue Snowball competitor, comes in at about $30 cheaper than the Blue Snowball. The Blue Snowballs usually you get for like $79, $69 if you can find it on sale, and the Talk Goes are $49, so a little bit cheaper, especially if you're just getting started and things like that. Here we go. So now that we got the tape off, just slide this one right on out the box. Bam, just like that. Slides right off. Now as we open her up, you see here again, opens left to right, just like the other one. Has that softer foam on the top. I love this so much more than styrofoam. Please, everybody, can we just make shipping stuff in this the standard instead of styrofoam? Please. Like, seriously, dude. I cannot stand styrofoam. But as we pull back the cover, bam. Now see, this one looks right. I feel like maybe they just packed my other one upside down. Sorry, you guys didn't even get to see that when I pull it off. This one looks right in the sense of it literally has it upright. The guide's up here, the mic's upright. They could have just put it upside down. It's not that big a deal, but that does kind of bug me. But this one, as you can see, is quite a bit larger than the Talk, or the Talk Pro, or the Talk Go, I should say. Slightly different setup there. The way this one works is it's got a meter that kind of goes up and down right here, as you'll be able to see on the back here. Still, this one's got 2 different knobs. Instead of having a button to hit for volume and gain, you've got 1 knob for volume, 1 knob for gain. Still has the 4 patterns. I believe you hit this button to change the patterns, and then this button to mute. So this button right here will change what pattern you're on. This button's the quick mute button, and so on and so forth. Still comes with a little setup right here, and then there's an RGB around the bottom here, so just like before, you can tell, I guess, kind of like what's being changed or if it's muted, but based on the RGB that'll be on the bottom. Still got the USB, And I think this also changes like the RGB color you want here. You just hit that button, it'll change the color. And then of course you've got your headphone jack or your aux cable to go on right there, so you can kind of hear what the mic sounds like and all that jazz. But this is really nice. Again, 4 patterns here. Let's see if we can grab this is the box? Yeah, this is the box for it. Kind of see what some of the major differences on this one is. Looks like the biggest difference is going to be the 192K sample rate, which seems to be 3 condensers. Let's compare. I'm trying to compare it real quickly directly to like the one before it. So the biggest thing is it's got the regular talk has a 96K sample rate. As for this one, it has a 192K sample rate. So over double the sample rate on this one. They're both 24-bit, both have 3 condensers. This one actually comes with an even longer USB-C cable. So this one the talk came with a 6.5, which was a little bit longer. This one comes with a 10-foot USB-C cable that's braided as well, which is really cool. We didn't even open it yet to get to see that, but just kind of looking at the side, I can look at all the stuff, kind of the tech specs and whatnot. So, yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. And again, just like the other ones, it's still, even though I probably threw it somewhere and didn't mean to throw it somewhere. Where did I put you? Ah, there we go. Still comes with the stand, screw it in just like before, and then stands just like all the other ones. So I'll show you kind of at the end, you can kind of see like how they all look when they're all standing up and kind of doing their thing. But still comes with the stand. Stand still spreads out. You can use it in a microphone, set it up, have it like this, use it as talking, all that jazz. So still really good. If you want my kind of quick first impressions, as I said, I did get to spend a lot of time with the Talk and the Talk Go. I'll be doing a bit of a full review soon. However, I will say that while I didn't think the Talk was a good starting microphone, I would not necessarily say I would say it's comparable to the Blue Yeti. That might just be more of an internal thing. I would say this one, the Talk Pro, is probably much closer to the Blue Yeti in terms of my use. The 2 biggest things I was able to notice is in order to get the Talk, which is the mid-tier one, to reach the same level of gain as like to where I needed it to work properly for my use or whatever, it would have to be at about 75 to 80% gain. If I pushed it beyond 80% gain on the Talk, it gained this really tinny sound that I was having a lot of trouble getting rid of, that I didn't quite like or understand. And on the Yeti, that does happen, but again, only happens when it's maxed out in gain. And in order to use the Yeti, I'd normally have it somewhere between like 5 and 10% gain, some probably even less than that. And the only time that was something close to that was probably this. I've been using the Pro most recently on my stream, and I'd sit probably somewhere between 10 and 20% gain, and I get a performance much closer to what I got out of my Blue Yeti that I've used. And again, this is still, I've only used them for a little bit. I've used the Blue Yeti legitimately for years, so it could use just a little bit more tweaking here or there to get the Talk to be where the Blue Yeti is. And in terms of audio, I could get it there. It just seems like I had to push this a little bit more to get it there than what I had to push the Blue Yeti to get there. But that's just kind of my early thoughts. I'll be having a full review on all of these microphones soon, as well as a head-to-head video coming down the line. What I will do quickly is a quick sound test. You can kind of hear a general idea of how each of these sound, and then we'll call it a video, and that'll be just kind of it for the unboxing. So yeah, let's get to the sound test. This is the test of the JLabs Talk Go. This is a desktop version, so like right now, the microphone is basically at my computer desk in front of me. I guess this would be how close I would be if I was, say, streaming or playing video games. This is what a test would be like if it was on my desk and I was playing video games. This is completely unedited, so just the raw version of what the mic sounds like at its, max volume settings. Hopefully this isn't too loud. And this is the Omni test, so this is the test of it at my desk setting. Still me sitting, playing at my desk on a computer. But this is a test of what it sounds like when it's set to the omnidirectional setting. So basically for if you're having a group of people surrounding you, as opposed to just you by yourself. This is what it sounds like when it's set to the omni setting. And while it's at my desk. Very important. This is the Polaroid test. So this is what the mic would sound like where I would normally place it, say if I had it on a mic stand. 100% would turn this down, by the way. But this is what the mic would sound like if it was on Polaroid. basically around the same spot that my mic stand would be, or say if I was using my Shure, or if I'm using my JLabs Talk Pro, where I'd have it on my mic stand where it's about less than a foot away from my mouth. So this is what it sounds like when it's less than a foot away from my mouth. And this is what it sounds like the same distance away, but when set to the Omni setting. So this is when you'd be basically been playing games and things like that. Now, I will say, from kind of listening to it while I'm recording, this does sound better right now. The downside to this particular setting, though, is that this setting is set up to track or capture all the sound around you. So you'll capture way more sound from your PC, Now, this is the JLabs Talk Go when it is about the same distance that I would keep it, say, when I'm using my live stream. I usually have my mic on a mic stand, so it's much closer to my mouth. And this is with it set on the Polaroid feature, or the Polaroid setting. So this is how it sounds when it's basically, I would say, less than about 3 or 4 inches away from my mouth, so you can hear me directly. One of the downsides I've noticed to this microphone is that it doesn't seem to have a gain feature, meaning although I can turn it down in post, say in OBS or things like that after, or like while it's recording, I can't turn it down on the microphone itself. All of that has to be handled basically in OBS and things like that, which isn't inherently a terrible thing, but just something to keep in mind while you're using it. Now what we're gonna do is switch. This is the same microphone, still the JLabs Talk Go. However, while set to the omnidirectional setting, this is the setting normally you'd use if you're doing a podcast in a room with a group of friends or that kind of setup. The reason why I don't necessarily say recommend using, although I think this sounds a little bit better in my personal opinion than the color I did just before. The reason why you wouldn't use, say, this recording though while you doing streaming or something like that is because when it's set to the omni setting, it picks up a lot more in terms of like your mouse and keyboard keys and things like that. So doing things like grabbing my water bottle, as you can hear, or even just tapping my desk or things like that, it picks up a lot more of that sound, or your computer noise and things like that. So because it's set to capture sound from all around you, it captures way more noise and isn't necessarily what you want when you're trying to do a podcast or things like that. This is more for like a group setting or group interview or something like that, or maybe a group business call, that kind of thing, so they can hear everybody around. Not necessarily for like individual podcasts or stream or something like that. One last thing I wanted to show off, since we have it here for the moment. As you can see, when you're using the device, it does have the blue LED on the bottom. When you press this button, it turns red, so you can't hear me, but you have the blue LED of red on the bottom so that you know that no one can hear you. And when you hold it, it turns green, and which changes the type of audio settings that you're using. So the LED is how you know whether or not you're on omnidirectional, muted, or on Polaroid, which is what we're on currently. So just wanted to show you that as well. Alright, so this is me using the JLabs Talk on my desk with the gain at about 50%. So as I said before, this is gain at about 50% on the Polaroid setting while using it on my desk directly. What I'm going to do right now is turn the gain up just a little bit real quick. We have the gain now at about 75%. This is what it sounds like with the gain at 75% while it's on my desk. So you're kind of like sitting on the desk talking to me back and forth, all that. But again, it's like while I'm on my keyboard playing the game with it on my desk, not necessarily like directly in front of me. And now this, with the gain at 100%, you'll notice it has a little bit more of a tinny sound, just slightly. But again, this is with it at 100% while at my desk on the Polaroid setting while I'm playing. We're gonna swap this here. We're now on the omnidirectional setting with it at 100% while on my desk. You'll notice it picks up a little bit better and the sounds more around me, behind me, and things like that. It's able to get sounds from all around. We're gonna swap it over to the stereo setting. The stereo setting is more for like a front and back, so you'll notice there'll be a lot of sound on this side right here, and a lot of sound on the back, this side right here. Sorry if that snap is a little loud for you guys, I apologize. And a little bit less when I snap, say on the sides right here. It's more for like an ASMR, for like a dual music focus, but that's kind of what that sounds like, again, with it sitting at my desk. This is basically more for music recording and ASMR. And the last one here, this is the bi-directional setting. So this would be like if I was sitting doing a podcast, I'm talking to the front of my mic, and then someone else is directly on the opposite side of my mic talking to me. So you'd have a clear kind of a corduroid sound on my side and a corduroid sound on their side. It's not the same as corduroid because corduroid cuts off everything from behind. So it's a little bit clearer because it's only focused on one, but it's trying to basically get the conversation going between two different subjects. And so this is with it on that setting on my desk right now. We're gonna run this back. It's all the way back on corduroy now, the original base corduroy, which, as you may notice, sounds a little bit more bidirectional. The difference now is it's at 100% gain and it's very close to my face, almost at about, well, still sitting at about 100% while being really close to my face. Now we're gonna be switching to omnidirectional. This is what it sounds like from an omnidirectional standpoint while still being really close to my face. You can kind of see on the camera as I'm moving around. It still has the same kind of sound all the way around, as opposed to when I had it on corduroy. You can see it sounds really good right now, but I get a little bit quieter as it gets to the back, and then I start to pick back up when I get to the front again. Now we're gonna switch it to the stereo setting. Now it's on stereo. This is what it sounds again when you're doing music recording or when you're doing ASMR. You want it to have these two sides kind of sound a little bit different, so you can do like a left and right kind of thing. Or so when you're singing into it, people get like a different sound in both ears based on what side that they're hearing it from. So that's kind of the sound that you're getting right now. And lastly is the bidirectional, and this would be kind of again for the one-person interview, much closer to my mouth, as you can see, not on my desk, only about 3 or 4 inches away from my mouth. And again, you can see how it sounds when I move to the side, it gets a little quieter. But when I go over here, you hear it in a different ear, and this is kind of like the whole idea of this is you're hearing me really well in the left ear when I'm on this side, but you hear me much differently when I'm on this side with the other person talking, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's how the JLab Talk sounds. Okay, and now what you're hearing is what the JLab Talk Pro sounds like while on my desk. The gain is at 100%, so I'm going to turn the gain down just a little bit so you guys can see how it changes. And now I'm going to turn it all the way back up so you guys can hear how it sounds when it's basically at 100%. This is with it at my desk, well, basically while I'd be playing computer games and things like that. I'm going to quickly swap over to different modes. As you can see, it's a lot quicker at swapping modes than the regular Talk is. This time going to be it looks like the bidirectional mode or stereo mode. So instead of going, is this the Pro? Yeah. So it goes straight to stereo on that second button, which is probably better. So you're going straight from hearing me in a Polaroid style to a stereo style, with it basically kind of capturing different noises depending on whether you're left or right side real quick. Hitting the button again. Now we're at a bidirectional style, so this is what it sounds like when I'm on a bidirectional, when someone should be directly in front of me, basically hearing me from one side and then hearing them from the other side. And then lastly, this is with the omnidirectional style of it sounds like, so you can kind of hear the differences there. Again, I have the gain turned all the way up, so there's no like volume and no basic, I guess I would say, background audio editing, so you're kind of hearing just the raw version of what this mic would sound without any other like filters or things like that. So yeah, there you go. That's all you get for that. Oh, well, do one more thing. This is about the distance, although I will say I turned the gain down quite a bit, but this is about the distance while you have the microphone when I'm using on stream, whether it's the JLabs Pro that I have that I've been using for my test purposes, or if I'm the Shure SMB that I'm normally using, or even my Blue Yeti that I normally use. Usually have it about this distance, although the gain isn't nearly as high, but this is how it sounds in a Polaroid setting in that setup. This is how it sounds in a stereo setup when it's that close, or how it's close to I normally have it when I'm doing my streams and podcasts and things like that. And as you can see, again, it sounds a little bit different when I go to like one side, or again, if I go to the other side, you can kind of hear me differently in different ears. Again, this is more for music or ASMR, things like that. This is the bidirectional sound, so again, sounds a little bit different, but look closer to Polaroid, but as you can tell, it gets kind of quieter as I get to the sides, but then picks back up when I get to the back side. Again, this is for like podcasts and things like that. Whoa, well, 2-person podcast, I should say. And lastly, you have the omnidirectional, in which case you notice the sound kind of stays the same no matter where I'm at, and that's because it's supposed to be for like group calls, meetings, group podcasts, things like that. Where you've got a lot of people talking, you need to pick up a lot of different voices, so no matter which side I'm on, you can kind of hear me the same. And so there you go. That's kind of a quick sound. Again, I'll be going over more of these in the full review. Expect that to be coming soon. But I want to give you guys a quick tutorial, or I guess kind of showcase of what these sound like in the unboxing, so you at least know what you're getting into outside of just the device itself. And for now, that's going to do it for the, I guess you could say, JLabs microphone unboxing video. If you want to see them all again really quickly, you can see them all here. This is the JLabs Talk Go, which is their entry-level one and the smallest one. You've got the JLabs Talk, which is kind of their mid-tier one, the one that's supposed to be head-to-head with the Blue Yeti that most people are known for using. And then this is the JLabs Talk Pro, which is more their flagship one. And in my personal opinion, if you're going to be going from any USB microphone to another one, this would be the one I recommend you get, just because it seems to have the most depth and most quality and ability out of all the ones from what I've tested in my early testing. But getting full reviews coming soon. Either way, if you want to talk to me about these microphones or any other audio settings, if you guys already know, I stream just about every Monday through Friday from about 6 p.m. PST till midnight. You're more than welcome to join me. I play League of Legends, talk about tech, and do all sorts of other crazy things. Also a lot of anime talk, if you're into that. But for now, I'm going to let you guys get out of here. Hope this video is helpful for you. Until next time, my name's Shinobazu. I'm your gaming and anime ninja. This has been ShinoTech, and I'll catch you guys later, alright? Deuces.
No, like just Ivan. I was fine with everything until Ivan was locked in with it. Cause then I gotta deal with Daisy's bitch ass. Then I gotta deal with Zyra's bitch ass. Then Zed's just gonna be like, I'm like, bruh, like I'm just not trying to deal with all that shit.